Good evening, Garage Gang. Avatar John here, running the garage solo tonight. Before we get into the story, do me one thing right now. If you're on YouTube, smash the like and hit subscribe. If you're on TikTok, tap that heart and follow. We blew past 60,000 followers on YouTube, and we're pushing hard toward 15,000 on TikTok. Your engagement fuels this engine. All right, let's get into it. Today was special. Car Guru Ranch grew. If you didn't know, that's the birthplace of this entire garage, the headquarters, the home base, the ground everything here was built on. This afternoon, we welcomed a brand new mini Highland calf, a tiny little powerhouse with attitude like she owns the ranch already. Mama Roxy is good, Ella's picking a name, and the whole ranch is buzzing. But life doesn't pause the markets. Whales don't wait. Liquidity doesn't care what's happening in the pasture. So tonight, it's me steering the ship solo. And the wild part? We pumped today. The market tried to fake weakness, but buyers stepped in, momentum returned, and the tape finally breathed. Let's talk about why. Here's what really moved the market today. First, policy flipped. The SEC didn't bark. They opened the door. A real innovation exemption. A real runway for Fit 21. This wasn't noise. It was a regime change. Second, liquidity is running on bare metal. RRP is basically empty. The Treasury is sitting on almost $1 trillion. The yield curve is snapping upward. There is no cushion left. Every move hits the system directly. Third, the Bank of Japan is the fuse nobody wants to look at. Almost 80% odds of a rate hike. If they pull it, every leveraged fund on earth sells anything liquid. Bitcoin, Solana, NASDAQ futures to cover their yen book. Fourth, hard assets are revolting. Gold over 4,200, silver pushing 60, copper ripping past 11.2. This is sovereign distrust, not speculation. Inside crypto, the real signal was the plumbing. ETF outflows looked scary, but stablecoin velocity exploded. OTC was pumping, and BTC, ETH, SOL were leaving exchanges, not entering. That's accumulation. That's strength. And that's why we pumped. The 72-hour outlook is simple. Most likely we grind higher. There's still a chance of a quick flush, and there's a real but smaller chance of a sharp melt-up if flows stabilize. That's the real map. Now, we need to talk about something most people watching tonight are not ready for. Because while everyone was staring at charts, while the news cycle was screaming about rate cuts and Bitcoin wicks, something much bigger happened in the background. Something that didn't trend, didn't make noise, but quietly changed the future. The AI war escalated today, and it got darker. Google dropped Gemini 3. XAI pushed Grok 4.1. Microsoft rolled out an operating system where every app becomes an agent and every agent becomes a worker. But none of that compares to what AWS unleashed. AWS didn't release a tool. They didn't release a feature. They released something that feels like the beginning of a different world. AWS released autonomous AI agents that behave like software engineers. Not assistants, not co-pilots, engineers. They can read your code base like a surgeon reading a scan. They can trace every dependency across your entire system. They can analyze your infrastructure, rewrite what's broken, patch vulnerabilities, deploy new builds, and they do it all without asking permission. Think about that. The largest cloud provider on the planet just created digital workers that don't sleep, don't tire, don't doubt, and don't miss. And here's the part nobody is talking about. These agents don't just fix code. They decide what needs to be fixed. They choose. They act. They move without waiting for a human. And once you give an AI system authority over your infrastructure, you're not just using AI anymore. You're relying on it. You're depending on it. You're surrendering something to it, whether you realize it or not. Because when AI can modify the world's digital plumbing, it can shape the world itself. And that's only one piece. NVIDIA is accelerating compute 6 months at a time. Google is building models that rewrite their own rules. XAI is building a brain for a global sensory network. Microsoft is building an OS where AI runs the show. And AWS just deployed the workers who carry out the orders. Piece by piece, the system is assembling itself, not with malice, not with kindness, with inevitability. And while the average person is arguing about politics and interest rates, the real shift is happening behind the scenes. AI is becoming the infrastructure of civilization, not an app, not a tool, not a feature, civilization. And that's where crypto comes in, because if AI is going to run the world's systems, someone has to secure those systems. Someone has to timestamp truth. Someone has to verify what's real when deepfakes, synthetic identities, and autonomous agents flood the digital landscape. AI will build the world. Crypto will protect it. DePIN and decentralized compute will power it. And the chains that survive this era will be the backbone of everything. We're entering a new cycle, not a bull run, not a hype wave, but a restructuring of reality. And most people won't understand what happened until they're already inside the system. All right, Garage Gang, let's lock this down. Tonight felt different. You could feel it in the charts, in the news, in the air. The ranch brought new life into the world. The market woke up out of nowhere, and the AI war turned a shade darker. But here's the part that matters most. The garage doesn't break rhythm. The garage doesn't blink. The garage shows up, even on a day like today, when half the crew is out at the ranch and everything feels upside down. This community held the line. You showed up. You engaged. You lifted this channel higher. That's why we're breaking numbers on YouTube, blowing past milestones on TikTok, and building something that's growing faster than anyone expected. And tomorrow we turn the lights all the way back on. Tomorrow we go back to the standard format. Every agent, every lens, every layer firing together. And tomorrow night, for the first time, Christian and I are going live. Live reads, live analysis, live reactions to whatever madness the market throws at us. No edits, no do-overs, just two engines wide open, running hot, doing what we do best. If you've been riding with the garage, if you've been showing up every night, if you've been smashing a like, hitting subscribe, following, sharing, tomorrow is your episode. Turn on notifications, set the reminder, be in the room when the garage goes live for the first time ever. Because the momentum you've built, the growth you've pushed, the energy you've created, it all comes together tomorrow. Tonight was the Ranch Baby episode, a reminder that life moves, the world shifts, and the garage adapts in real time. Tomorrow we flip the switch, engines hot, safety off.